appreciate and understand the physical, mental, and emotional burden, plus the financial burden, no, economic burden brought about by our quarantine policy. However, we recognize also that the quarantine is really one way to prevent the spread of the virus. May tinatawag tayong phase na kahit wala pang symptom, pwede na siyang makahawa. Kaya that is the basis po for the 14 days. Yung incubation period is 5 to 14 days. We concur that we can relax the 14 days to 10 days without testing as long as they remain asymptomatic and monitoring is strictly implemented. At any period that the traveler or the overseas Filipino worker gets symptoms during that 10 day, then testing should be done. It's a good compromise in the sense that we reduce the duration of the period of quarantine with minimal effect on the number of infections.
It is clear that really the medical guys would really go for the strictest measure. As a matter of fact, they are not, from what I sense, is that they are not ready to move an inch backward. To them, the paramount interest, we were discussing here about the expense of government. And you would notice that they never mention about money, except that they are really insisting to the strictest measures to protect our borders nga.
The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Authorities issued curfew violation tickets to a number of people who started lining up for the Maginhawa Community Pantry in the wee hours of the morning. Earlier today, 4 people were tagged as curfew violators and were asked to pay a fine of 300 pesos despite financial struggles brought by the pandemic. One of them said she was not able to get to the pantry on time yesterday for her needed food supplies, and that's why she decided to line up by as early as 4:30 a.m. today, 30 minutes before the end of curfew. The violators asked QC's Task Force Disciplina for some consideration, as they are still struggling to put food on their own tables. Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte said there's an obvious violation of protocols, but she agreed to pay the violators fine given their circumstances. The Maginhawa Pantry opens at 6 in the morning and closes at 6 p.m. Maginhawa Community Pantry organizer Patreng Non denies having an ulterior motive in starting the Bayanihan initiative. Non categorically rejected accusations that she has links to the communist movement. She added that the Maginhawa Pantry was not being used to spread any kind of anti-government propaganda.
Sinasabi po ni General na may mga nakapaskil po sa Maginhawa po na doon lang po nakapaskil. Wala pong ganon. Lahat po ng media na nag-cover, malalaman po nila walang ganon. At saka hindi naman po siya bumisita kahit saan po. Parang fake news po talaga po. Wala pong basihan at walang katotohanan po.
In an interview with the chiefs, Non narrated that police officers frequented the Maginhawa Pantry. She said she appealed to the local police not to show up with their rifles so as not to frighten the civilians lining up for aid. But Non said the uniformed men continued to show up with their rifles while trying to get personal information from Non herself.
Sinabi ko nga po, wag na magdala ng mga rifle kasi hindi naman kailangan and baka mag-create ng fear sa mga tao. Tapos po, after ilang days, ganun pa rin may rifle. Tapos napapansin ko po is, lagi po nila ang tinatanong yung number ko. Parang once a day, isa nagtatanong. Tapos dumating sa 3 beses na tinatanong. Tapos concerned pa ako, parang sabi ko, Bossing, natanong na ni isang boss kanina yung number ko. Kunin mo na lang sa kanya. Wala po akong idea talaga na sino bang. Tinanong din po nila kung anong org.
Former Bayan Muna representative Nery Colmenares is not buying into the narrative that the PNP visited community pantries to gather intelligence reports. NTF-ELCAC spokesperson Antonio Parlade Jr. earlier said that the police just want to gather intel to make sure that the community pantries are not used for anti-state propaganda. But the former lawmaker said this does not make any sense, since intelligence officers are not supposed to go straight to the person they're investigating.
If you're doing intelligence work, it has to be discreet, right? So what's your purpose in revealing the intelligence work? The only purpose is to harass the person. They're not really there for intelligence purposes.
Integrated Bar of the Philippines National President, Attorney Domingo Cayosa, added that those profiling community pantry organizers should be held accountable. Cayosa also said it's not right to sow fear in the hearts of people who are simply exhibiting the bayanihan spirit.
Sa totoo lang po, komunista ka man, militar ka man, kaparian, abogado, media, masama o mabuting tao ka, kung tumutulong ka, nagpapakain ka sa mahirap, there's nothing illegal about that. Regardless of your political or ideological beliefs or even motivations, hindi ho krimen yung magpakain ng gutom at tumulong sa mahihirap.
Some hog raisers have yet to receive the promised compensation for their pigs that were culled due to ASF outbreak. They're now eyeing to bring the matter to the main office of the Agriculture Department. Shaila Francisco with the story.
Filled with hogs, this pig pen in Barangay Bahay Pare, Candaba, Pampanga was thriving back in 2019. But when the African swine fever hit the country, its owner Anthony was forced to surrender 30 pigs. The government had to cull pigs with a promised incentive for raisers. More than 100 hog raisers here in Barangay Bahay Pare, Candaba, Pampanga were promised 5,000 pesos per culled pig. But until now, they haven't received a single centavo. Some raisers fear they won't receive anything anymore. 2 months after the hogs were culled in 2019, the Agriculture Department implemented an order. It limited compensation to backyard farmers with a maximum of 20 pigs. This invalidated several raisers from getting compensated.
Alam kong ang gobyerno ang mga tao ay hindi dadayain. Kaya ako hindi nagdalawang isip na sumunod bandang huli. Unti-unti na po namin naramdaman na nagtatagal. Parang humihirap. Parang nawawala ng pag-asa. At parang hindi na yata ibibigay.
Some owners decided to convert pig pens to dog houses, while others were transformed into duck farms and fish farms. But income from these is still not enough.
Sa totohanan lang po, kanya-kanya po ng diskarte na lang sa pamumuhay eh. Lalo na po ngayon, hindi naman po kayo makakapagtrabaho ng basta-basta kung wala kayong travel pass, wala kayong medical certificates. At napakahirap po talaga ngayon ang mag-apply. Yan po ang totohanan nun. Kaya halimbawa magtinda ng gulay, magtinda na kung ano-ano na lang, basta ho makaraos po ang pamilya.
The affected raisers are planning to elevate their concerns to the DA's national office.
Dahil yung mga inutang din namin na PIDS, sinisingil kami, wala ho kaming maibayad. Yun lang din ho ang pinangako namin. Unang-una ho kasi dahil sa utang din namin sa pagkain ng baboy.
The DA's regional office denied claims that the memo to only compensate backyard raisers with 20 pigs or less was implemented after the culling. The DA assured that eligible raisers will still receive payments.
Staggered naman kasi yung pagbibigay ng budget sa amin ng BBM. So kung ano yung dumating sa amin, yun yung ibinabayad namin based doon sa kung sino yung nauna na nakal, basta qualified sila doon sa criteria na set ng opisina.
For now, affected hog raisers in Pampanga cling on to the hope that they may soon be compensated. Shaila Francisco, VR1 News.
San Miguel Corporation opens yet another ramp along the Skyway Stage 3 in a bid to ease traffic in the metro. To give us more details, we have Justine Punsalang. She's reporting live from the Nagtahan Sky Ramp in Manila. Justine, good morning. Could you give us the latest?
Starting this morning, the Nagtahan Ramp along the Skyway Stage 3 is now operational and is without any toll fees for motorists. San Miguel Corporation President Ramon Ang assures that this will be the case for all other Skyway Stage 3 ramps in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. DPWH Secretary Mark Villar, together with personally inspected the newly opened off-ramp of Tagtahan. According to Villar, this will continue alleviating the traffic problems within the metro. From Muntinlupa to Manila, travel time decreased to just 13 minutes. And in the next 30 days, the DPWH will also be opening the on-ramp of Tagtahan. Currently, the Skyway management is still processing the toll fees to be imposed on motorists passing through the Skyway Stage 3. But Ang said that they are not in a hurry to earn from the Skyway. He said that right now all they want is to help the riding public who are experiencing hardships because of the pandemic. Ang also said that the Bulacan Airport project is still ongoing. Following President Duterte's request, they are now prioritizing the decongestion of the road leading to the airport via a tollway. He said that they are currently in talks with the Toll Regulatory Board for that matter. And once this is settled and the DPWH sends them the go signal, they can now start with the construction of the airport at tollway. And also said that the DPWH has already approved the Boracay Caticlan Beach Bridge, and they are now beginning its construction. Charles Ang meanwhile reiterated his refusal to endorse any politician running for public office in 2022. He said that as a businessman, he has to remain non-partisan. He adds that he and other businessmen should not meddle with politics to keep the playing field even. Charles?
Thanks for that update, Justine. That was Justine Ponsalang reporting live from the Nagtahan Skyramp. Spotify and the company behind dating app Tinder are accusing Apple of abusing its power over software developers that depend on the App Store to reach users. Mark Gurman tells us more in this Bloomberg report.
And I think that this goes to show you perhaps why Apple did not want to participate in this hearing initially. I thought they were basically put into a corner in some respects. That's not to say some of their points were not great, but I think there were some key issues related to Tile and competition between the new AirTags and Tile's item tracker that went unanswered. There was a little bit of a debate in the middle of the hearing about why Apple does not take a cut of revenue from Uber while it takes a cut of revenue from Tinder, given those apps both facilitate in-person experiences, one being a date and one being a car ride. So I think this is really going to continue to play out, and we basically were shown today that this is going to be potentially a very long-term issue for Apple, and there's definitely more work to do both on the sides of Apple and the lawmakers to come to some sort of series of changes here moving forward.
Amid these controversies, Apple is investing in a music startup that aims to undercut major record labels by offering artists full control of their music. More details from Bloomberg Quick Take. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.